think we got interrupted there. Let's see. Maybe the Wi-Fi is not so great over here. I don't know, but we're back. So anyways, so we're working on our planter, and this was our color inspiration. He just said that this is what was going in the room, or you know, how the room was decorated. So I decided to do a little bit of metallic stripes and some flowers, and then obviously on these details we'll do some gilding wax after we seal it, and hopefully what we chose will go with our inspiration. Okay, so there's a number of ways that we can go about doing this as far as the order in which we do our stripes and our transfers. So the transfer that I chose is Sunflower Farms. It's kind of got like a very fall feel. You can see there's little leaves and some acorn type things, and I feel like that's gonna go really well with the background, and also our little swatch here with the colors that he gave me. I feel like that's gonna go or coordinate really well. So I wanted to add a little bit more interest other than just the florals. So, oh hey everyone, thanks for hopping on. I think I had a little bit of a Wi-Fi issue a second ago, so if I cut out anymore, I'm sorry. I'll be back, but it's kind of gloomy outside, so I don't know if that has anything to do with it. But anyways, so I went ahead and I painted my planter in burlap, the color burlap. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some stripes coming down from the top that kind of fade down into the flowers, and then some flowers just kind of placed, you know, in corners, the bottom, whatever we think is going to look right. You can do your stripes first, let them dry overnight. I'm going to be using Eternal Decor Wax, which is gold. And it's oil-based, so it's preferred to let it dry overnight before you try to transfer over it. It's dry to the touch in a couple hours, but to be safe, you might want to let it dry overnight because transfers won't stick to your oil-based wax if it's not cured. So for purposes of the live, though, I'm going to go ahead and do the florals first, and then I'm going to wax stripe around the florals, and I'll show you how to do that. Clear coat that you can cut out the pieces that you don't want to use. You can save them for another project. So I could save my little leaves and acorns for if I decide to do a fall project. If I ever feel like doing that. I don't know. We'll see. So I've cut my transfer section that I want to use, and I'm just gonna make sure it's gonna fit right here. And it looks like it is. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove the backing paper gently, because you want to make sure that your transfer is sticking to the clear part of the clear sheet, not the backing paper. So I'm going to go ahead and gently handle this without touching the back. The back is the sticky part. You don't want to, you know, touch that. As much as possible, you don't want to keep your fingers on. Yeah, I think my Wi-Fi might be having some issues today. It's kind of nasty out, so I don't know if that has to do with it, but if it keeps freezing, then we'll just give up. But I've seen it freeze a couple times, but try to move you a little closer to the Wi-Fi box here. There we go. Okay, so let me go ahead and figure out roughly where I want to place my transfer. I'm going to line it up at the bottom. This looks pretty good. So once I have it lined up with the bottom where I want it, I'm just going to give it a rub it on there. Okay, and then once I rub it on there, I'm going to take my transfer tool. So I like to use my little plastic transfer tool, which you can get from a Redesign with Prima retailer. Or, you know, they come with this little wooden popsicle stick kind of doohickey, and that's fine too. There's nothing wrong with using that. It works just fine, but I like to use my fancy stick here. So we're gonna go ahead and just rub it on. I like to go sideways. Sideways all over. You gotta be pretty firm with it. Use some muscle, use a little bit of that muscle you got. sideways. Ah. And then I like to kind of run my fingernail along the edge just to make sure it's all the way down. I do that. And then I go up and down. Be careful not to scratch your paint. That's not fun. Okay. And then I want to pick a corner and start to gently and slowly pull it up. And hopefully my transfer is sticking to my piece. If it's not, then you just lay your clear sheet back down and go over it again with your tool or your stick. And then continue removing your backing paper there. Looks like we're in business. So now that I've got it all adhered on my piece, I want to kind of run my, you can take a finger or your palm and kind of run along the edges. You want to make sure you get all the edges nice and stuck well. You want to pop any bubbles or smooth out any wrinkles that you may find. So firmly burnish that transfer in with your finger, your palm, one or the other or both, whatever. Just get it on there. Okay, and then I think I want to build up a little bit more flowers somewhere. So I'm kind of digging this little chunk right here. Digging this little chunk right here, except the pine cones and the leaves. I'm going to cut those off. That's one thing I love about transfers is you can cut them and chop them and customize them and kind of make whatever look you want. So I think I'm gonna maybe build this up like kind of right around in here, maybe. Right through the center, kind of add that there. And then we'll do our stripes around that. I don't know, maybe we'll put some more flowers up here coming down. I don't know, we'll see what this looks like once we get it on there. And then we'll decide. So, let's see, where do we want this? Let's do, let's do it like kind of right in there. I like that. Boom. Okay, so we commit to a location, rub it on. I like to use my palm and grab our tool. And I like to go up. And sideways. All right, so let's see if that's on there well. I'm going to pull up a little corner. Start peeling it away gently. If any pieces don't stick, just lay your sheet back down and rub them again. You might have missed a spot, that's okay. All right, and there we go. So that little chunk is stuck. I love this flower right here. I'm so glad he's kind of like the focal point. This is a pretty little flower. And let's see, I don't know. I can't decide if we need some more flowers or not. Do we need some more? I think we might need some more like, I don't know, like right here maybe. Right here? Do you think? I think we need some more. So we're gonna add some more. All right, let's see. All right, there you go. And let's just find a little chunk. Ooh, look here, this is perfect. To come down kind of right there, you think? Yeah, I think. So I'm cutting off the leaves and the little pine cone. I don't want the pine cone, but you know what? I'm gonna line this up right here. Well, we'll just cut out the pine cone and let it kind of spill over the top. That sounds like a plan. Good plan to me. This transfer has got me feeling all fall, and I hate fall. I hate anything not summer, okay? So I don't like anything that's not summer. So don't talk to me about pumpkin spice lattes and Uggs and things like that. I don't want to hear it. Don't want to hear it. I like summer. All right, so there's our little piece. let's see, how did we have this? I think I want to come down like so, like that. So I'm gonna go and peel away my backing paper gently, make sure it's sticking to the right sheet. And without touching the adhesive on the back, I'm just gonna kind of lightly place it where I think I want it. And then we will just kind of press it down once we are in the right spot. And I'm gonna get it in this little groove right here with my fingernail. Make sure it's, okay, now, do you see this little spot right here where it goes up this way, but it also goes over that way? I'm just gonna take my scissors and make a little cut like that. See what I'm saying? Like, I'll show you. So right there, this is gonna come over this way where my finger is, and this one's gonna go up that way. So it's just a little cut to make it so that it can bend in the proper, spots. If you are much of a sewing person, you will know what I'm talking about. When you have a curve, you gotta work around. You make little slits so that it will curve. So it's very similar, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and start rubbing on my transfer now with my stick. Starting the biggest area first, up, down, side to side. Okay, now I'm gonna go on this little section here. Can you see my big head in the way? Hope my big head's not in the way. Okay, this way, this way, this way, this way. Now I'm gonna stick my little tiny guy up here that kind of just spills over onto the top. And then I'm gonna kind of work this up here. Going over a curve is a little trickier, but you can do it. You just need to be a little, probably take your time a little bit more than you do need to on a flat surface. You don't want to create a bunch of wrinkles, and you don't want to scratch your paint, so just need to work a little bit slower in these areas. Okay, so once you think you have it on there nice and good, I'm just going to go ahead and peel up. I'm just going to start down here. All right, start over here and start peeling up. And peel this way. And as I'm peeling up, I'm just going to kind of make sure it's on there really well with my finger. Press it down. There we go. Okay, we're in business with this one. So now I'm going to take my palm and just kind of rub smooth out any wrinkles, pop any bubbles, make sure it's adhered really well. If it's not and you get air trapped underneath there, after you seal it, in the future you may have some issues with it kind of drying out and causing peeling and curling of your transfer, and that's not a good look. So you want to really take an extra minute and make sure you've got it on there really well. Okay, so it's on there. And now we're going to go ahead and do our stripes around here. So I'm going to go from the top down with them fading down into the bottom. Like I said earlier, you can do this before you transfer. It's probably easier that way, but I wanted to be able to fit it all in one video, and you have to let the oil-based gilding wax dry, preferably overnight, but at least a few hours. I'm using the Decor wax in Eternal from Redesign with Prima. This planter is made from, it was like a resin type material. So hey everyone, I'm getting all kinds of compliments, you guys. They're too nice to me. Too nice to me. But I'm using the oil-based gilding wax, so you want to make sure it's completely cured, because the transfer will not stick to it if it's not cured. So also, when I'm making my stripes, I'm going to be using painter's tape. And you want to avoid getting the painter's tape on your transfer area because it will pull it up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tape around my transfer areas. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start here. And like I said, it's probably easier to do your stripes first, but you need to let it dry for at least a few hours before you transfer. And we don't have that kind of time on a live. You're not going to sit here and wait for 2 or 3 hours while it dries with me. I mean, would ya? That's crazy. Crazy talk. So we're going to stripe around our transfers. And I'm going to stop my stripes like right here, so they have like a stopping point. Excuse me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these tapes, and I want them to have a crisp, clean edge up the top, so I'm just going to tape that top part off where my stripes are going to end. Go, and let's see, a couple more pieces. Oh, let's see, we're gonna come around here. I eyeball the width between my stripes. I eyeball it just because I do stripes often enough that I like to live life on the edge and just, you know, guess. But I don't, you know, you don't have to do that. You can take a measuring tape and tape off or mark off every inch where you want to have your tape, or you can use a piece of tape as a spacer in between. So, you know, just take a little piece of tape and measure out the space in between, okay? If you want to. Okay, so like I said, we want to be careful not to get our tape on our transferred areas because it will pull it up. So I'm just taping my stripes around my transfer areas for this particular video. And well, I'll show you how to do, we're going to do some fading stripes. We're going to fade them around the flowers. They're not going to be completely filled in top to bottom. They're going to fade. That's a little crooked, isn't it? Okay, so let's see. Careful not to get our tape on our transfers. You could use scissors too to kind of cut your, if you want to be like, you know, if you want to have your stripes butted up right up to your flower transfers, you can use scissors to kind of cut your shape too. Let's go ahead and put a little piece here so we can continue this stripe down here. And this is the same thing with like stenciling. Like if I considered using a stick and style stencil for this instead of the stripes. In the end, I decided to go stripes. But if you wanted to do stick and style stencil, same thing. It'll pull up your transfer, so you want to just use some scissors, kind of cut it to fit right around your transfers. Be nice and custom. We like custom, don't we? Okay. All right, so I'm going to be using, I feel like I should use a smaller brush than this for, I like to use a wax brush, so round, fluffy, round, that way you get a nice fade when you're putting on your wax. It's really easy to fade the edges, but I think this might be a little bit, no, we're going to stick with this one. We'll see how it does. I can switch brushes if I need to. So this is the Bell brush from Dixie Belle. It's a smaller, I prefer it for wax or powders or anything like that. I don't use it for painting or sealing, but I like it for applying wax and artisan powders, Dixie dirt, anything like that. So I'm just gonna use a little bit of my gilding wax, almost like I'm dipping it in and then kind of wiping off the excess on the edge. So sort of like, you know, you're applying makeup. You know, you don't want a whole ton on the end of the brush. You just want enough to like, it's easier to add than it is to take away, that whole thing. So I'm just gonna start, I'm gonna start up here and we're gonna work our way down, kind of dabbing at it to get the opaqueness that we want in the wax. See how as I kind of just brush it down and like let it fade out kind of on its own? That's what using a round brush or a wax brush will do. That's why I use it for this type of striping, because, you know, it fades out super easy. It just kind of does it for you. Okay, so we're just bringing that down. I'm just going to do a little tiny bit over here. So you just get a little tiny bit of a stripe on this side. A little bit of a hint of a stripe coming down. And you could use your finger if you want to, even to kind of fade stuff out, but let's get this here. There we go. Okay, so got a little hint of our stripe over there. Now we're going to finish this one. Coming down from the top, we want it to be more filled in at the top, and as we go down to the bottom, we just kind of let it fade out, just like that. Right, and our next one. So we're just kind of going around the shape of our flowers and letting our stripes kind of fade into our flowers, just like that. Super easy. And same with the top here. We're gonna let that fade gently into that little cluster of flower there. Like, we want a very organically shaped edge, okay? I don't want like a hard line or a harsh line around my flowers. I want it to look very faded and natural, or organically shaped. Okay, so we're gonna continue down here. And if you accidentally get some wax where you don't want it, like a little boo-boo, you can take clear wax and kind of use it as an eraser. Just brush it on there and try to erase your little boo-boo fairly quickly. You want to do it before it dries or cures, but that will help. Okay, so this is our last stripe, and then we will do the reveal. My favorite part of doing stripes is pulling up that tape and see what it looks like. This is the best part, man. Okay, there we go. And I think that's gonna work for us. All right, let's see how we did. Okay, I'm gonna start up here. So someone was asking what this planter was made of. It's actually made of like some sort of kind of resin material. And I cleaned it and applied 2 coats of Slick Stick, which is an adhesion primer from Dixie Belle. And the Slick Stick will, you know, you let it dry overnight and it will allow your paint to stick to non-wood surfaces. So you use it on anything non-wood, like metal, glass, faux marble, faux granite, laminate, or mica, all those things that paint doesn't really like to stick to so well. All right, let's see, one more in here. So what are we thinking so far? Do we like the faded around the flowers kind of deal? I'm digging it, I'm digging it. Ah, come on. Here we go, and one more. Here we go. Okay, so that is what I'm going to do to each side. Yes, that's kind of what I'm going for, is like the stripes are disappearing into the flowers. Yeah, that's kind of the goal. I'll give you a little closer up view. So there she is. I'm going to do the same thing to each side. This is, or like I said earlier, I'm going to seal each transfer area with clear coat and satin and let that dry. And then I'm gonna get my gator hide and give this whole thing 2 coats of gator hide. I don't believe that he is using this for real actual plants. I believe it's for one of those decorative faux trees, you know, the little trees. But just in case, I am going to seal it in 2 coats of gator hide in case he in the future decides to use it for real plants. Because then that will, you know, make it durable enough to where, you know, you can water it and drip water on the planter and it won't affect the finish. So I'm just gonna do that on each side. Same thing that we did, just maybe a little bit different placement of the flowers. And then I'm gonna take my Eternal gilding wax that we just used, and I'm gonna lightly, you know, put that on the little carved details here, or carved looking details. And so it'll give it a little bit of bling bling. I should note, before I seal this whole thing in gator hide, I am going to let this dry overnight, because like I said earlier, the Decor wax is oil-based, so you want to make sure it's completely cured before you go sealing it or anything like that. So to be safe, I'm going to give it overnight, and then I'm going to seal it in my gator hide. Oh, and it's got these really pretty claw and ball feet that attach to the bottom. I painted those gold and did a black glaze on them. I'll show you real quick. We did a black glaze on those. So I've never seen a planter with these types of feet before. So I was pretty intrigued by this little planter here. So these go, you know, right up under there, the little feet. And I don't know, I may touch a little bit of Eternal on there. I'm not sure. They're pretty metallic-y as it is. So who knows? It's one of those decisions I'll make when I get there. But I'm gonna go ahead and finish off the rest of this guy here on all 4 sides, just like this. So I know, aren't those feet amazing? I'm a sucker for anything with claw and ball feet, anything. So I appreciate you all hanging out with me for a little bit and watching me do some faded wax stripes and some transfer layering. And I hope that you all have a great weekend, and I will see you next Thursday at noon here on the Redesign with Prima group. And we'll do some more fun things with Redesign with Prima products. All right, have a good day. Bye.